but I lost my voice on the Crafty Chicks cruise. We had an absolute ball. We had a blast. We really did. And thank you again to everybody who put your trust in me to organize that crafty cruise and who joined me. Memorable, just unforgettable trip. Now, I'm not loving this view, so let's see if I can adjust this for you guys. I'm going to try to get you a little bit more view. This is my journal entry, my gratitude journal entry from yesterday. I do this every Sunday with the Craft Therapy Club. So here are other journal entries, but I leave it open overnight to dry. You can really see here that mesh that I put there on the corners. And I just love it. I love it. I love it. I think it turned out pretty darn good. Okay, let me see. I'm going to put this away. I'm going to do some ATC cards today because on the cruise, we had my friend Chris Hunter from Creating with Chris Hunter. She organized an ATC card table and she gave away goodies on the cruise for people to make ATC cards, but I didn't get to do that. I didn't have the time to do that. So I printed out some mermaids. I'm going to use these as my focal points. And I'm going to make some ATC cards. So come on in. I'm finding some little scissors so I can cut while you guys all pop in here. So no selling today. We're crafting and chatting. So that's a time for me to craft while you guys hang out with me and tell me about yourself. Let's get to know each other. This is a time for fellowship and building relationships. Okay. This was the printable right here. And what I did was I asked to make it smaller, because this was on an 8.5 by 11. That was enlarged. I asked my printer to print 4 of them on one sheet. So it's 4 identical versions of this. But I needed them small enough to fit on a card. So that's why I did that. So I'll have lots of extras. I just got these off Etsy from Ginger Journals on Etsy. That's where they came from. So I'm going to cut off one of these. And perhaps I can use the other ones in my travel journal. I did not get to travel journal at all. It was, I was coordinating. I was making sure everybody was good. And I did not feel like I had the time to sit and just work on my journal. So I'll probably be doing that over the course of the next few weeks live with you guys on Facebook and here on Whatnot. But today I just felt like I'm going to do some of my own. These look like stickers almost. I'm going to do some of my own ATC cards. Anybody here an ATC card fan? Do you make them often? Do you trade them? We did do a swap. We also did an ATC card relay challenge in teams on the cruise ship. That was fun. My voice is awful. I'm so sorry. It is what it is. Who said good morning to me? April. Thanks for saying good morning. Thanks for chatting with me. It feels so good to have someone to talk to while I'm doing this. So awkward when I'm here chatting for crafting and chatting and no one chats. It's so weird. So thank you for being the first one to say hello. You get an A+ today. What are you up to, friend? What's going on in your world? Today, my husband is going to go to Grand Forks to accompany my son, who has to go tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. There, an ortho appointment because he did something to his knee in wrestling. So we're pretty sure he'll have surgery by the end of the week because my husband thinks maybe it's a torn meniscus. All right, I'm hoping to do 3. So I'm going to fussy cut 3 of these out. I know it's like watching paint dry, but it is the process, but it gives us time to chat. So please say hello. Waiting for your ride. Gotcha, April. I gotcha. What time is it where you are? Where I am, it is 8:19. I forgot to send out a Telegram message. I should do that, huh? To remind everybody where I am. In fact, I could just send them the link. That would be even easier for them. So I think I will. I'll put down these scissors here in a second. I'm trying to get pretty tight, but I don't necessarily feel the need to get in every single little crevice here. You could if you wanted to. It's just not how I roll. I'm rethinking my book that I made for the cruise. I don't think that the book that I made is going to be big enough to hold all the memories that I want to put in it. I got to finish cutting that, but let me get into Telegram and send a quick message. Anybody drinking coffee with me today? Your personal care aide. Good for you, April. Your helper. Help is on the way. Okay, let's see. I'm going to grab this link. If it allows me to copy, yes. Drop it into Telegram so people can join me if they want to. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, thanks for being here. I cannot see your comments unless you jump on over into Whatnot. So I just sent that link to you guys in Telegram just to make it easier for you to jump into the Whatnot app and chit chat with us. I'm making ATC cards. Hazel, I'm going to work on some ATC cards. We just got off the cruise ship for the Crafty Chicks cruise. It was a ball, and we did ATC cards on the cruise, except I lost my voice on the cruise. I did not make any. My friend Chris Hunter from Creating with Chris Hunter organized that station, that craft station, during our crafting time. And because I was doing door prizes and trying to take photos and stuff, I just didn't have time to sit and create. I wasn't really anticipating that, but it makes sense, right? It's not how it worked for me. So thankfully, thank you to Chris Hunter, first of all, for being on the cruise with us, and second of all, for organizing that ATC craft station. There are probably some people there. There were a lot of people there who had never junk journaled before. So I'm guessing there were people there who had never made ATC cards. And Chris agreed to teach them how, and to have, of her own accord, she made little gift bags for them with the supplies that they would need to make ATC cards, which was freaking amazing of her. It was amazing. I was just thinking, I didn't even get one of those bags. I don't even think I got one. But she must have given some really good goodies, because the ATC cards that they produced were amazing. I'll show you the ones. Let me see if I can find them on my phone. This is getting really persnickety right here. She's getting all curled up. I love mermaids. Anybody else a fan of mermaids out there? They're so dreamy. All right, I've got myself 3 cutouts for 3 different ATC cards, and I'm going to hope that they fit on there really well. All right, let me see if I can find real quick the ATC cards that the girls made. These are during the ATC Challenge Relay. I took a picture of all the cards that were made by the different teams, and here they are. So these are the cards, the ATC cards that they made in teams during a relay challenge. They had 15 minutes. Like this one here with the shell and the margarita, it says, "Enjoy it all." We'll get real close. This one says, "My life is my message." Bon voyage, our vacation. Crafty Chicks cruise. Trip of a lifetime with the shells. Oh, this one says memories, and it has the Crafty Chicks cruise logo on it. Timeless memories. And then this one also has the Crafty Chicks logo on it, and it says move with grace. Oh my gosh, that's me. I love that. I love it. I love it. What we did was we did the challenge. So 7 teams. You didn't have to do it if you didn't want to, but 7 teams of either 2 or 4 people did the relay challenge, and then they took photos with their cards with their team, and then they put them on the door prize table, and I gave away the 7 cards and they all signed the back of them. Oh my gosh, it was the best. All right, let me see. I got to check your comments again because I see a question on screen, but I'm not able to read it from where I'm sitting here. They do look like Ariel, don't they? What kind of scissors are these? They work great. Hazel, these are Tim Holtz. These are Tim Holtz scissors. They come in a variety of sizes. And there's a I know that I have at least 3 of them. I don't know if there's another size, but small, medium, large. I don't know, maybe there's more sizes, but those are the ones that I have. All right, let's see if these are going to fit on my ATC card. Yes, they're perfect, actually. I think they're going to be perfect. So now I got to prep my cards. These are kind of actually, that Joker, really cute. But I'm going to cover this side because I don't want the green. Okay. Now, what are we going to cover it with? I've got scraps of paper here. So we're going to start by gluing on some scraps of paper. And then we'll take it from there. I know it's a little messy, but I think I'll use my matte gel medium to glue on. And the other thing I should do is probably get something on my table so that I don't make a big old mess of my table. So let me get my glass. My glass table cover so I can wipe it clean when we're done. There we go. All right. So we're just going to take one at a time and we're going to collage some papers on there. Okay. Pretty easy. Pretty easy breezy. I just have a big, huge thing of scraps over here. This one has some blue on it. Maybe I'll save that for this one because it's a pretty big piece, right? I wouldn't mind having a little book page on here. So I've got plenty of book pages. This one even has some color on it. I probably had leftover paint and just offloaded on this book page. So let's take a little bit of that colored book page. And I usually trim out the white. I don't want the white because I want the book page on there, the words. Actually, look, that covers up a good amount of the card. So we'll use that. And then we'll get some more. See, with ATC cards, you just work with very little. You don't need a lot of supply. Like, really, a little goes a long way. One more little spot right there. And I will use a different kind of paper for that. I won't, here, maybe I could take off of here. Because that'll go there. Yeah. We're just covering. So that one has everything it needs. Actually, let me glue it now, and then it'll have time to dry while I'm working on the other two. Hold on, girls. Sip of coffee must be had. Good morning, Miss Cheryl. How are you, my sweet friend? I was just telling the girls and showing them the ATC cards that you guys all made on the cruise and saying, I didn't get to make any. I didn't have a chance to do it. So I'm making some ATC cards today, Cheryl. I'm getting my voice back somewhat, which is nice. My husband and I had a very restful day of chilling out on the couch yesterday, much needed. And we both, actually, you really need a rest day when we sat on the couch to watch a movie or two because we just needed to take a break and rest. And we both fell asleep several times. Like you wake up and then you fall back asleep and then you wake up, you fall back asleep. That's exactly what we were doing. So I know we both needed it. I need something just so I can really load this up with glue and not get it all over the place. Where was I going with this one? I think toward the bottom. Now, a little green is going to show, but I don't think this is a problem. Cheryl, are you recovering, my darling? How do you feel after coming back home and getting back to your routine? I hope you're feeling good. I feel my heart is so happy, my soul. I'm just so full of joy from the trip And I said in my post, like, I just want to linger on that for a while. Like, can we just stop here and appreciate that feeling? That's how I feel. I have no nails, so I have to try to pick this up off of here. Impossible for me. I think I missed an edge right here. How is that possible? Let's get it. Let's get it down. All right. Just use a matte gel medium. Gluing that all down. All right, let's go to the next guy. The next little duty. Put this so that I don't get any glue, or I don't want it. Let me check comments. They are so pointy, Hazel. Those scissors are so pointy. Cheryl, you ended up with the last ATC card that I showed. Oh, they're so pretty. You got one of the Crafty Chicks Cruises one then. Yay, I'm so glad. Good morning, Debbie Hudson. How are you, my darling? We got 2 Cheryls here. I love it. Yes, I made it to church. We went at 7:30. It was rather painful. I'm not going to lie. It was, Gannon was home, and my boys really, for 18 and 20-year-old, they are unusual when they're home. Like Chris and I, if we're really tired and we're alone, there's a 7:30 mass and a 9 a.m. and then one more after that, I think at 10:30. But if we're really tired and we're home alone, we'll go to the 9. I'll just say to him, like, oh, please, let's just sleep in a little. But since Landon's wrestling days, Landon always wanted to, we used to go to the 10:30 mass. They were both altar servers, and we switched that up when he was in wrestling because he said, Mom, I just have too much to do. I got to get my homework in. We have wrestling. They always had wrestling practice on Sundays. So he's like, I just want to get to mass as soon as possible. So we started going to the 7:30 mass. And now they both, the 2 of them, my 18 and 20-year-olds, they want to go to mass at 7:30 all the time because they want to get their stuff done. So we went to 7:30. Gannon actually had to drive home. He has a 3.5-hour drive from our house to where he is living this semester for his internship. So I need to find a little spot of paper for right there. Let's try to get book page. I have a little bit right here. So anyway, he convinced us that 7:30 was best. So we went to 7:30 mass, and then we came home and I made them breakfast. You know, I can't eat eggs, but I made eggs and bacon. So they had some eggs and we all had bacon. I just had like lettuce wraps with bacon and avocado. That was my breakfast. And then Gannon did 2 more loads of laundry before he left. And then he took off at about, I don't know, around noon maybe to drive the 3.5 hours. Oh, heating up without eating lunch first. The kid, it was like 11. I think it was 11:30 actually. He was like, okay, I'm going to leave soon, but I need to eat lunch. I said, we just finished breakfast. He's like, aren't you hungry? No, neither Dad nor I are hungry. He's like, I don't understand how you guys survive without eating so much. I said, well, when you get older, you just don't need as much food as you do when you're 18. We're very different in that way. Their eating schedule as 18 and 20-year-old boys, the young men, are completely different than ours. This feels wonky. I'm going to straighten it out. I was trying to get good coverage, but then it made the words wonky. And I don't know if they're going to show up through my mermaids, so we want to make sure it's good. Okay, there we go. I need a little more for this one, and then we'll get on to the next part. I was going to say your voice is getting better. We got home Saturday night at 10. Oh, you're welcome for the great time. Thank you for such a beautiful trip. Such a beautiful trip. You got home Saturday night at 10. A lot of us had long travel days. There's Ruthie. It was amazing, and I'm so happy I went. I will never forget the laughs and love for all my new friends. Isn't it the truth, Ruthie? You just connect in a different way. That's just the truth of it. I mean, and Ruth, I've known you for years online through the Craft Therapy Club. We've been creating together on a regular basis in the membership club, but it's not the same as being face-to-face, walking around the ship, enjoying each other's company. It's just not the same. All right, one little spot right there. These 2 have that little spot of color on them, so I'm going to see if I can find something. Like, here's that paper scrap. Let me see if I can find something with just a bit of color. Here's one with a little bit of blue. I don't want it to go that way. I want it to go this way. presumably that spot of green that's showing will, you're just working with itty bitty pieces of paper on ATC cards. If you haven't been collaging or art journaling, but you want to get into it, ATC cards, these little 2x3 cards, are a really good way to ease yourself into this collage endeavor. Especially if it intimidates you at all, you're like, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. I'll give you 4 steps, the 4 steps that we used in the ATC relay. It makes it really easy. You just follow the 4 steps, this like protocol for making a card, and doing it at this small itty bitty level will help you build your confidence. So then you can start doing full journal pages or mixed media canvases or whatever, you choose that you want to do. So the 4 steps are your background, which I just completed. You put something down as your background. And then I usually add something of texture. So something of texture could be burlap, it could be ribbon, it could be threads. A lot of times I'll use threads. Let me see if I have some handy. Remember, I like my little thread nests. So I save all the little threads that come off my projects so I can pull them and make like a little nest of texture. Okay, so it could be threads, it could be like I said, fabric. It could be a textured paper. It could be a crinkled up packing paper, just anything. As a junk journal, I like to use stuff that's been sitting around, or that would have gotten thrown out otherwise. Anything textured. So let me go into my fabrics now and just look. I have some dyed cheesecloth, super like neutral. Like this isn't, you could use this with a sports theme. You could use it with the mermaids. You can use it with any theme that you're going with. So you do your background, you do a bit of texture, you put your focal point down, and then I usually will add some words or some more embellishments. Okay, that's the basic. I would say that's basic. I'm going to grab a bit of this. It's not very bright though. It's rather dull, but the netting makes me think of fish netting, like fishermen would use. So it feels like it's the right theme. I'm going to grab just a little corner of this. 2x3 cards. We don't need a lot of stuff here, right? We just need a little bit. And actually, maybe I'll use this on all 3 and make these really like a coordinated set. Instead of using the threads, let me use this same. You can see this little bit of cheesecloth is going a long way. Okay, so I've got my texture. Before I put that down, I think on this one, I'm going to do one more step to my background, and I do this often. Do you see how right now my background papers are very prominent, or not prominent, dominant is the word I'm using. If I just put her on here, she's not going to show up real well because I've got all these words in the background that are pulling my eye. I want to read the words. And so I want those to go more to the background. So I'm going to use some sort of color on top to not make this disappear, but just kind of go into the background a little more. So let me find a color I like. I could use a watercolor. Let's use a watercolor. So before I put my watercolor down, you don't have to do this. It's just me, okay? Before I put my watercolor paints down, which I have some shimmer paints, I'm going to first put some gesso down. And gesso is just a primer. What it's going to do is it's going to make these papers, it's going to put a protective coat onto the papers so that when I put my watercolor down, they don't just suck right into that paper immediately. This is like a primer. Gives a little protection to the paper, and it allows me to use a new color on top and have some control over the color. If I just put color on these really old dry papers, especially a watercolor, the water is just going to seep into those dry papers. The dry papers are just going to suck up that water, and the color, I'm not going to be able to move it around at all. It's just going to blob in there, and it's just going to stay where it first hits the paper. So this bit of clear gesso, I could use white gesso, you can use, but I want to be able to see this these background papers, I want to be able to see them. I don't want them to disappear completely. I just want to move them further into the background is how I would describe it. So we're going to do this to cover them up a little with some primer, which is called gesso. And then I'll take my watercolors on top of that. And I may need even something a little stronger than a watercolor. We're going to see. We're going to see. Let me dry these up a little. Whoop, everything blows around when we do this. Let me dry these up a little, and then we'll we'll see about if my watercolors are going to be enough. Let me check comments. Good morning, Carol Edison. How are you? I went to bed last night about 7 p.m. and just got up. Cheryl says it's 6:30 a.m. here. Oh, Cheryl, good for you for taking the rest time you need. She says, hi, Ruth. Cheryl Burial saying, hi, Ruth. You were in bed at 9:30, which is early for me. You slept until 7:30. See, we need it. We need to just let our bodies rest and recover. Heart-to-heart hugs, Ruthie. Thank you for teaching me that on the trip. That was the best. Yes. She told me about trying to find you that dish. Girl, you got a good connection there because she thrifts because she's a reseller. She's at the thrift stores in Southwest Florida like several times a week. I think they're pretty dry. So let me get my watercolors out. In fact, are they already out or did I put them away? I used them. So this is actually Blue Fairy Dust set of artisanal shimmery watercolors. Do you see how they're like mermaid colors? These are the perfect ones. These are from Jane Davenport. They're perfect. They have shimmer. I'm going to see if I can put some color on here just to make those go to the background. Let me grab a brush, a watercolor brush. What I want is for those to go to the background. Oh, no, I'll use this one. So I'm going to wet my brush. And what color do I want to use? Let's look at our mermaids. See how they have blue and gold. This one doesn't have, she has a bit of blue, but she has more green. So which color? Let's try blue Morpho. All right. My brush has water on it, but I just wet it. So I'm going to just drop some water drops on there. And before I go in on my card, even though I just gessoed it, so it has a little protective layer, I'm just going to see. So, all right. See how I can still see the words, but the blue is going to make them go further to the background. So we're going to add this color. Hold on, girls. I think I'm going to make this easier on myself because I'm going to have to keep dipping my brush into water. I'm going to use my little porcelain dish and put the water in there so I can wet my brush, dip it into my paints, and then let's start coloring this. It's easier for me to hold it because it's so little. I don't need it to be all, watercolors, you can control how much color you get by adding water and then spreading it out. This is going to add a beautiful shimmer. And if I want more color in one place, I'm going to dab it in there, get more pigment, and then see how much darker that is now right there in that corner. It's totally covering the words, but in some places it's not. And see the big difference between the top and the bottom? It is. It's a big difference. So it's just a little step, adding a little more cover over my book page words. And because I have 3 different kinds of paper on here for my paper collage, it's also going to make them really cohesive because they all have the same wash of color over them. My little bit of green that's coming out from the card back there, I'm okay with that. I can still cover it with a little blue. A little more water here. I'm going to let this dry. All right, see the big difference between the card that I've put a wash of color and the one that I haven't? See how all of those papers go toward the background and what we see is that really pretty shimmery blue, where here my eye is still focused on, oh, we got several different papers, ledger paper, I don't know what kind of paper that is, and then some words, Mr. McConnell, taught in the lines. I don't want to read. I want to see the book page, but I want it to be background. So we're going to keep covering these up a little. without making them totally disappear. Oh, wow. I've already used up my water. There we go. ATC cards are so fun because they're little, they're manageable, they're usually pretty quick. Now, I know it's just taken me a long time, to make this set because I'm describing and explaining and teaching. I'm demonstrating for you. So when you do it at home, you're not going to have to stop for all these little explanations. You're just going to go. No stopping, just going. I'm going to dab on a little more color here. All right, maybe, should I do all of them the same color? Let's do all of them the same color, and then maybe I'll add a bit of, well, a lot of green is showing up because of the green background of these cards. Oh my gosh, the shimmer on these, in these paints is just, it's over the top beautiful. I need it to spread more. I need more water to get it to move. And because I put that layer of primer, that gesso, it's not sucking into the paper, this dry paper immediately. It's just kind of sitting on top, and it gives me time to move it around. All right, we got to dry those. I just wonder, do I want to put, I just am tempted to try. I've never even used this forest green. I'm tempted to grab some and let's just see if it does anything. It's not very different, actually. I think it's because I have so much of that blue on my paintbrush already. All right, I'm just going to leave it for the sake of time and put that in the water. I'm going to put this aside, and then we're going to dry. So the drying in between helps it move along faster. So there's my background. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. We're making ATC card, mermaid ATC cards today. So now my texture will get added on. And again, the texture is going to draw your eye up and make that background go further. Every layer that you add makes the first layer go further to the back. Oops. See where that blue, where it just like pulls up, the drops where it's pulled up in those spots, it just makes it darker, and I love that. I think it's so pretty. All right, we got our blue-green going. All right, now I need to add this. I mean, I could use a glue stick, but I already have my matte gel medium kind of sitting here. Let me just see how these ladies are going to end up on these little mermaids. She's very bright. Her hand is going to get chopped off or something because, oh, unless I position her like that. So I think for her, I'm going to put her bit of texture down under her because that's the way she's going to be positioned. Now I can put the glue down, the matte gel medium, and then tap this in, or I can also put it on top to get it to really stick down. This tail, because it's going up, I better glue that down, yeah? Otherwise it's going to be falling. Gravity will take it the wrong way. And I'm great with it extending over the card. Whoops. Oh, come on, Gracie. See how it extends over the card? I love that. I'll probably chop that down a little, but for now, I like that. She'll be here, so it's kind of like she's in a netting in a way. She's got a very white aura around her, so I'll probably adjust that a little bit. But I'm not going to worry about that now. Right now, I'm on part 2. We did the background, which was 2 parts, and then we're adding the texture. So I've got these little bits of stained cheesecloth. And I'm going to try to put the cheesecloth in a different place on each one so they're not all exactly the same. So a big mound here of, you can see that white glue, how much I put on there. And then I'm going to push this into it. I always use my fingers, you guys. If you care about what your nails and your fingers look like, use a little, you know, like a silicone dauber or something, but that's just not how I roll. All right, so we got that. She's going there, you're going there. We got one last one to do our texture. And see, you don't even need a whole lot of supply here. I think I might put this one in the lower right, or left, excuse me, here. Yep. There we go. Stuck down. Now, your third step is to put your focal point down, which will be our mermaids. And then your fourth step is to add any more embellishments. And then I usually add phrases. Okay, they're very bright white on the edges. So I am going to get something, one of my ink daubers, to tone these down, the white down a little bit. So I'm just going to take my dauber. I used it yesterday for my art journal page, so it still has some ink on it. So I didn't really re-ink it. All I'm doing is kind of toning down all that white. I might have to add some more. I think I do. I'm going to go with something brushed corduroy maybe. Just tone her down. Tone it down, girl. You're a little bright. You're a little bit bright this morning. Trying to focus on the edges, but if I get a little on her, not the end of my world. The color matches completely with the whole vibe of the card. So it's okay if you end up, oh my gosh, this is so thin, her tail right here. I don't want to rip it. I gotta be careful not to rip. See the difference between the bright white one, mermaid, and the one that has been daubered? Look how bright her edges are. I mean, I'm not trying to steal her sunshine or anything, but I just need her to be more cohesive with the card. It's a little step, but it makes a big difference to your eye when you're looking at the cards. Anybody got anything fun happening today? Who's creating and crafting? Who's visiting with family? Did you got a lunch plan going? What's going on in your world? I'm going to do this, then I'm going to shower, and then I've got to just get at my desk. I've got to pay bills that have been stacking up since we were on the trip. I've got to, looking good, right? Okay, this one has this coming way off. I'm going to just, I don't mind it coming off. Just, I feel like I don't love that straight edge so much. So I'm going to tear at this a little bit. Well, I guess that's just where it landed. You know what I'll do to rough it up a little? There we go. So it's not so straight and perfect. Okay. All right, let's get these girlies on here. I am going to use my permanent glue stick for this, I think, if I can find it. I think I had put it in my travel bag. All right, I have more. No worries. I got glue sticks. I'm pretty sure I do. Where are they? Wax seals. That's not it. Hold on, girls. I gotta find the glue stick. Yeah, there. Yeah. I need to get back on a routine of eating healthy. So today I'm gonna hope to eat lean protein. So chicken. I got some chicken out. I'm hoping for lean proteins. No more desserts, girls. The nightly dessert at dinner, it's got to go away. Not that we don't usually have dessert, you know. If I want a sweet, I'll usually eat like a Rolo or two. I don't usually eat a cake or a pie or something like that. Now I got to leave room. I usually put little phrases on these. So I got to leave room for that. And I think I'm going to put the phrase down low on this one. So she can go here. This is a permanent glue stick, so I'm confident it'll hold it in place. Okay. Trying to leave word for my next step, which is my further embellishing, but also some words. I'll put like a catchy phrase or a quote or something, song lyric, something. Now remember, she is only going to fit here in a certain way, unless I make her like she's diving down. No, I'm going to have her this way. She's her hand. I don't want to lose her hand. That'd be weird. All right, like this. And then my phrase or word will go there. So I put her right over her texture. And then this one, I kind of like her up top here. Are you going to throw shimmer or glitter on them in the water? Hazel, the watercolor paint that I used is a shimmer paint. So it is shimmer all over the whole card already. The watercolors that I used from Jane Davenport, let me show you again. They are shimmers. See how they shimmer? So the color that's already on these cards is a shimmer. Thankfully, took care of that shimmer because we do need shimmering mermaids, don't we? Okay. There she goes. There she goes. Let me see if we can capture some of that shimmer. Can you see it? Look right here. Oh, baby, that's some shimmer. This feels not shimmery down here. We got to get some shimmer. I missed a section. So let me get my watercolor brush. And actually, maybe I'm going to go into one of the greens this time. Grab some green. Let's just do a different band of color down here. Oh my gosh, it's so dark. So pigmented because I didn't water it down too much. Went right into my texture actually. Oh my gosh, that's actually pretty. I'm going over my cheesecloth with it. Maybe I should shimmer my cheesecloth a little so that's not so dull right there. All right, I can't help it now. I can't help it now. I'm going to add a little to each of them. Let me add a little of this really dark green and put a little bit of it. It's called, this is the Blue Morpho, actually. Put a little bit of it on the cheesecloth. So we got some shimmer. And let me rinse my brush. I'm going to grab a different color for this one, just to be different. I'm trying to get a lot of color on my watercolor brush. And then let's add, it's much lighter color, so it's just not showing up as much, which is okay. But it's still shimmer and it's still color. Let me grab some of this one just because look at how much darker it is. There. I love the water drippy look. So there we go. All right, now I got to find some phrases while this is drying up a little more because now I just wet it again. Let me put away my glue. No, I need my glue. Do I need my glue? No. I'll put the matte gel medium away. I'll use my glue stick for the words. Let me find some words. A lot of times I can find them. Hold on, girls. Let me put this away. A lot of times I can find the phrases that I need in the sticker sets that I have that are words and phrases. So hang tight. I'm going to look for that. I have lots of them. Some of them are Tim Holtz. One set that I have just came from Amazon. Quote stickers. That's the Amazon set. What I do like about this, so the Tim Holtz ones are black or white. Some of them have gold foil writing. But what I like about this set from Amazon is see how they're different colors? I do have black and white, but I also have like orange and brown. So let's see if we find one that we like. I like this one. Says, life is too short to live with regrets. Oh, I really like this one, and it's got the right color, but it's really long. It says, be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people. It really matches, though. So what I usually do for this, grab my little itty bitty scissors. Whoops. And I'm going to cut between the words if I can steady my hand. The goodness of people. Be the reason. I'm going to say, be the reason. Steady grace. Someone believes in. So now I have 3. See how there's like this big white spot right there, that margin, I guess you would call it. I'm going to cut that off because all the other words are so tight. So now I can glue stick these on. Oops. And you know what? I don't want them. I usually don't go completely straight. I usually position them wonky. That's just me. I mean, do it however you do. You do you. I was like, you do you, girl. But I usually position them wonky. So there's my 4th layer, which is the words. Okay. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people. I love that this is extending out. It's a little far, but I'm going to leave it still. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. There's that one. And then I do actually do one more thing to these that I'll tell you here in a minute when I'm done with this. Let's find 2 more phrases. This one has plenty of room to stack words. Both of them do, actually. So if I found a longer phrase, I could do that if I wanted to. I like the create happiness one. And actually, there's these 3 match each other. See how it's kind of got like a peachy background? It really shows up well. It doesn't have to be stacked. It can be something shorter. And because I chose a bright background, it's going to show up really well. So create happiness. Her tail doesn't look like it's glued down. What is this? Oh, it is. It's just your imagination, Gracie. Just my imagination. Once again, running away with me. You know that song? I can't even talk because my voice. I should not be trying to sing. Hey, Terry Green. She says, these are so pretty. Got an appointment for tomorrow with the doctor. I have to call the oral surgeon. Got to get it, girl. You're going to get after that and make sure that you're healthy and well. Yeah, these are from Jane Davenport. The name of the watercolors, sure. Jane Davenport. I don't know what this Chelsea Vens is up top, but it's the Blue Fairy Dust set. Artisanal shimmery watercolors. And she has a bunch of them. But these little dots have worked really well for me, and they've lasted me a long time. So if a pot, like a full pot or set of the watercolors with the case, if that's, too much for your budget, don't be afraid of these little dots. They have lasted me a long time. They remind me of those dot candies. Thanks, Debbie Gravoy. She says they're so pretty. Hello, my Florida friend. The background looks like a shell. Oh, I love that. Thanks for saying that. All right, we need one more up here. Now, her dress is a little bit different. She has more peach and pink in her dress than the other two had more blue and green. So this one here, life is too short, or cultivate gratitude daily. Both of these I like. So I'm going to grab life is too short to live with regrets. It's longer. So I'm not going to fit it just plopping it down, but I can cut it. And remember, I like to cut off this excess on the edges because then it's all cohesive. Like, because I'm going to be cutting in between the words and there's not a lot of room. That just went there. I don't need that there. Oh, stop it, you now. Get away. Go away. Be away with you. Stop sticking to everything. Okay. Life is too short. Yep. I'm going to cut in between short and two. And so see how close those words are? So I want this end to match how close that is to the edge. Don't overthink this stuff. Don't beat yourself up over the angle or any of that stuff. It's the those little details that you hem and haw over, or, you know, after it's done, you're like, oh man, I wish I hadn't. Listen, I promise you, other people are not seeing the same thing that you do. The creator is always, we are always more harsh on ourselves, and we're our biggest critics, I guess is the way to say it, than other people are to us. Okay, this little bit of color, I don't necessarily want to lose it. So this is where I say to you, like, when I have leftover, I don't waste. I usually like to make sure it gets used. I know it seems frugal, but you never know. Like, it's so weird when I go into my stash of papers, I'll sometimes find, it's like, oh, I could use that blue on this collage. That'll work perfect, especially because it's a shimmer. So we're going to offload it on some book page or in your art journal so it just doesn't go to waste. Okay, that's one of my little quirky tips for you. Now that's clean. This will dry and I can use it some other time. What was the last thing I said? Oh, what I usually do with these, let me see if I have any left. I do. Hold on. I created these artist trading card title pages. If you trade with people, this becomes something really helpful, and it makes it a good memory for the people who get your cards. These are available to Craft Therapy Club members for free, or you can buy them from my website, thecomfinesswithgrace.com. Go to the digital section, and they're just little cutouts that you put on the back of your card, and it says artist trading card. It has the title of the card, who the artist is, so that's your name, the date that you made it, and any notes about it. Like, I usually say, you know, created live on whatnot kind of thing is what I would write on there. But you can write whatever you want, of course. So I'll put one of these on the back of each of these cards. And then hang tight for a few more minutes. I'll show you my collection of cards. And you can get fussy if you like and cut around the scallops. I have a couple of different designs of these. When you go to the printables, I have one that has a more vintage theme. This one has more whimsical theme. But let me grab my cards. I have actually too many to fit. Hold on, girls. I have this box. With some of the cards that I've made in the past, or that this one was gifted to me by Lisa Boone. So some of them are gifted. That was an ATC swap from Tammy Entergren. That was in my Craft Therapy Club from a member. So some of them, and then what I started doing, I found these little adorable little 3-ring binders. And I started putting some of mine in here because I think what a cute way to display them, right? You can flip right through them. Now this one, I just put the date. I didn't put one of these cards on it. But and I have room for more. These are just blanks. But look at, I have 2 of these. This one is plum full. Let's pull some out and see. These were Chalk Couture ones. Darling, you're different. See? Made February 2024. That set that I usually do 3 at a time, and they're usually coordinated. Love with all your heart. And I used some shimmer tape on that one. Isn't that pretty? Call that one Lovebird. Be open to whatever comes next. They're just little tiny works of art. This one was in January 2024. Not my circus, not my monkeys, with a little cat wearing a dress. So they're really fun, actually. When you've started a collection of them, they are really fun to look through because you'll start to see how your style has evolved over time. Counting Blessings. That was in 2023. Give It to God. 2024. See how they're all like they have different vibes completely. That one doesn't even have a phrase on it. I just left it like that. That one's 2020. That was on my birthday, 2024. That was my birthday. These were my vintage beach babes. I am fabulous. Well, of course you are, darling. You won the award. She won the cup. This was on vacation in July 2024. Beach Babe Challenge. Facebook subscriber. Beach Babe Challenge. Made it a birthday party in the Craft Therapy Club. Oh, at my birthday party on 12/17/24. I must have had a birthday party for myself in the club. Anyway, they're really fun to collect and make. They're really easy in terms of commitment, right? They're just 2x3s. Remember, today my time is long because I did a lot of explaining, a lot of teaching. This is what I do in my membership group. A lot of teaching tips and tricks and giving you protocols to make, especially if you're new to all of this, if it totally overwhelms you to start with a blank page and an art journal or with a blank artist trading card and think, now, like, where do I even start? Me giving you the 4 steps is a way for you to just break it down and make it easy for yourself to do that. And that's my goal. I want you to create, and I want you to create with joy in your heart. I want it to make you happy. I don't want it to stress you out. So that's why I teach it the way I do. Oh, thank you, Miss Cheryl. Ruthie, she said, I think we need to start an ATC swap. Thank you, Cheryl. She says they're gorgeous. Let me get you guys in a little closer to these so you can see them a little better. There they go. Now you can see them really well. Let's get that glare off there. Ruthie, before we went on the cruise, a few people had asked me, are we going to do the junk journal on a journey again? And so I was kind of gearing up in my own mind to launch that here in March, a junk journal on a journey. But we sure can do ATC cards too. I'll like put that in my, in the back of my mind so I keep it right there. Because an ATC swap is such an easy, fun little project to do with friends. And that's what I love. The membership club, part of the benefit of it is you have people to do these swaps with, to create alongside with, to learn from, and to build your own skills in a really light-hearted, friendly, supportive environment, all built in within the club. So if you're interested in the Craft Therapy Club, go to crafttherapyclub.com to sign up. We would love to welcome new members. We are going to gear up to do a junk journals on a journey swap project. And I'm going to launch that sometime in March. And I put you guys together in teams, if you don't know what that is. I put you in teams of 3 or 4, and the 3 or 4 of you as a group, you're going to, just like you see us do on Facebook, the Friendship Journals on a Journey, is the same thing. You're going to create your cover. If there are 4 of you, you create your cover and you create it with 3 signatures, open signatures, and then you send it to the first person on your team, and that person is going to add a signature and decorate it, put a little bit of our own flair, maybe some messages to you, positive messages, and then send it to the next person. That person's going to add a signature again to the 4th person. That person adds a signature, and then the book comes back to you. And it was created by the hands of the 4 people in that group, in that fellowship group. I create small chat rooms for each of the groups, so they have a place to chat and talk about timelines and, ask questions of each other and things like that. It was a really fun activity to do together. I'm so glad you like them, Cheryl. Both Cheryls, Cheryl Snow, Kelly, and Cheryl Burial. I miss you guys already. I do. I miss your presence. They're sold out. What's sold out, Teresa? She says they're sold out. These are? Tell me if that's true. I'll go right into Shopify and I'll fix that. They should be not, they shouldn't be like, there should be an unlimited supply because it's a printable. But if you join the club, you get all of my printables for free. That's part of the benefit. So you wouldn't even need to buy them. Oh, the watercolor paints. Bummer. You know, another really good set, I'll tell you, of shimmers that I love is this set. I got this off Amazon. Oh, let me back you up a little. Teresa Buchanan, I didn't even realize you were here. Hello, my sweet friend. How are you, beauty? These are called metallics, Soho Metallic. They are bold colors, but they have the golds in here. And these are gorgeous too. So if Jane Davenport's are sold out on her website, I would say check Amazon. Even I don't know if she sells on Amazon, but you could. But there are other metallics. Let me just grab one of these colors. This is one I use a lot. And this was not very expensive on Amazon. I still have blue in my brush. Naughty girl. I got my brushes wet with other colors and I'm dumping it into a new one. I'm having trouble seeing that on there. Let me see if I can. Let me grab this one. This one's copper. Kind of bold. You got to get it wet before it activates the color, the pigments. You got to really rub on that and get it wet. Let your brush absorb that color. These are really beautiful too. And they are metallic shimmer too. So there are other brands. You don't have to get Jane Davenport's, but hers are really nice. This one, you really do have to wait until it dries to see it, the shimmer come off of there. But if I hold the pan up close, can you see that shimmer coming from those colors? I know my pan's a mess, but I use it all the time. See, the Jane Davenport set is really like a mermaid color set. This one has more broad colors with the copper and the red ochre and the pink. It has black. So there are other sets out there. Hers are really shimmery, I will admit it. Or I'm guessing if she may even have on her website, like, you know, put your email in here so when they come back in stock, we'll let you know. But check other websites. If you're on Jane Davenport's website, I think she's in Australia, if I remember right. So the shipping's kind of high right from her site anyway. But if you maybe check scrapbook.com, maybe they can just go Google Jane Davenport paints and then go to the shopping tab and see where else you might be able to get. In fact, I could do that for you right now. Jane Davenport shimmer watercolor. I'm Googling it. And then I'm going to go to the shop tab and see if there's anywhere else you can grab it. I'll just give you some help here. Does she sell them anywhere else? Oh, her shimmering pastels are available, I think. I see some on eBay. No, I think she's keeping them close. She's not the only, but I just wanted to point out, she's not the only shimmer or pearlescent watercolor to grab. You can get them from other artists or other suppliers. All right, girls, I gotta go. I gotta get to my desk and start catching up with things. Yeah, you know what, girls? The shimmer shows on this, but it's not real strong. You can see it right here in the corner a little bit. I see it. See that shimmer? It would have shown up a lot better if I had used my gesso first. This is why gesso is such a nice little tool to have in your stash, especially clear. Because if I put it down first, then that dry paper wouldn't have sucked up all that paint. It would have sat on the top more, but you can see there's the shimmer. I mean, there it is. There's the shimmer. We love us some shimmer. All right, love bugs. I miss you. I do. I miss your company, girls, already. I'm trying not to think about that because when I think about that, I'm a little sad. I'm trying to just hold on to like the good feelings that I came away with on our trip. They're just so good. My heart's so happy. You have a beautiful day, Miss Teresa. Thank you guys for joining me here. If you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube, thank you for being here. I'm sorry I cannot see your comments. I can only see them in Whatnot. And then it just automatically broadcasts it to those other two places once I've got that set up that way. So if you want to join in on the chat part of it, make sure you get over to Whatnot. Use my link to create an account if you haven't already, and you'll get a credit to your account for shopping on Whatnot if that's what you want to do. Okay. Otherwise, I'm live for Craft and Chat every Monday here on Whatnot. Love you all. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Oh, wait a minute. Before you leave, can we please raid somebody? If you don't know what that is, we're going to, all of us together from the Comfy Nest, we're going to jump into another person's live feed, and we're going to give them a row of chicks that look like this in the comments. And we're just going to support them. That means just stay for 5 minutes, say hello from North Dakota, say something, stay for 5 minutes. It will really support them in their algorithm and show their sale or their crafting to other people. It helps to boost them in the matrix of people who are live right now on Whatnot. So let's create a raid so we can support another seller or another person. Nutmeg Mercantile is a friend, and she's live now doing vintage decor. Let's jump into her and say hello from the Comfy Nest by giving her a row of chicks. I'm going to raid with you, so I'll hang out in the comments as well for at least 5 minutes. Let's do it. Nutmeg Mercantile. You guys have a beautiful, blessed day.